Hello, my name is Gentry Patrick, and I am a neuroscientist. I study how disease mechanisms and disease pathogenesis, like the pathway for the disease, like Alzheimer's disease, how that alters the function or degrades the ability of those receptors to function properly. So I'm from South Central LA. I grew up in Compton, California. My mother, she had me very young, 16, and she got me into reading and doing math. And so, for that matter, kept me on a path to use education as a key ingredient for success. I saw a lot of despair. I saw a lot of death. I've had many cousins in my family, murdered, in jail. You pull back, you see all of that, but then you still see the nuggets of good that you can hold on to that you call your community. I remember walking around the hospital at King Drew Medical Magnet High School, known very much for training in trauma, because it was right in the heart of South Central. And I remember just walking around and seeing people work together to save lives and be involved in, the health of my community. And for me, I was like, I think I could do this. This is where I want to be. I want to do something that relates to solving human health issues. One thing to be able to persist and to be able to go on a trajectory that I've had is really just to stay away from the mess, regardless of how smart you are. I even accredit the knuckleheads were the ones that were like, you represent us, Gentry, so please, you got to stay away from this. We don't know what's going to happen tonight. And I'm glad, because you get caught up in the penal system, and that could be that. And so what they were saying to me is that there's a hope for a better future, Gentry, and we see that you're a part of that. Please go do something great with your life. I was this kid who was smart in high school, straight A student, get to Berkeley, and then the bottom falls out. I didn't have a playbook. I didn't know how to organize. I didn't know how much it would take to be successful. And so I faltered those first 2 years. One of the things that helped me was something that we provide now, even in my scholarship programs, something that we know is that the students need: mentors, and advocates, and experience and access, right? So I got into a lab. From then, I had a job. I was able to make money. Financially, it was very sketchy and I was on the edge, right? And that helped me start to find my footing in science and my self-identity in science. I got into this master's program at UCSF, where I did a master's in biochemistry and biophysics, and that was the start of my career, where I learned what real hard work was. Went from there, and then I got into grad school at Harvard. And I saw more Black excellence when I got there. I spent 3.5 years at Harvard, and I was able to complete my PhD that fast because I was very motivated. I was in the lab, I worked hard. I get to UCSD, they give me a job, I take the job, right? And then I start recruiting graduate students. It was surreal to think that I was this kid from South Central. Now, within my first year, I had 3 PhD students, meaning 3 individuals that have decided to work on their PhD with me. Anyone can be your mentor, right? But we do need students seeing those that look like them, come from similar backgrounds. Make sure you find your people that can help you get where you want to go. Fall in love with your science and ask people why they care about science. Hear other stories so as you build your own. It's this dynamic walk of life that, for me, it's been my life, and I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of work. Sometimes it's tears, sometimes it's joy, but you keep going. I think about, what do I want to give my students? I want to give them an experience that rivals nepotism. Provide some aspect of that awareness, knowledge, access, and success to our students who typically don't get that. These marginalized communities, these students who've excelled so much in spite of, right? When you get into UCSD or when you get into UC Berkeley, that doesn't mean that someone's just giving it. You've worked hard to get there. I thought that it was time for me to figure out how I can bring more black and brown students who look like me, who come from places like me, into science so that they could be successful. I want to eventually see communities change, right? Bringing South Central or, south of the 8 here in San Diego closer to to what's happening in the STEM community. I see the brilliant minds of coming out of these communities helping solve disease and build companies and diversifying our workforce here in STEM. It's a social justice issue, a social justice in human health, the STEM and healthcare professions pipeline. It's not about, I'm going to get a PhD. It's about, I'm going to be on a path, I'll get a PhD, but then I'll change the world with my actions. People have called me an anomaly. Been at a dinner party with a bunch of white folks, for instance. They're like, you're so interesting, and you're kind of like an anomaly. And I'm like, no, I'm not. There's kids just like me. We just have to figure out how to get them here.